Let's face it, Lovecraft's cosmic horror is pretty freaking weird. But what makes it even creepier is seeing those mind-bending monsters and otherworldly landscapes come to life on the big screen. And when filmmakers ditch the CGI and go old school with practical effects, that's when things get real. And to be fair, while CGI has its benefits, nothing can ever come close to some good old practical effects. So in today's video, we'll talk about 12 movies that nailed the effects. Let's start. But before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. From Beyond, 1986. From Beyond is about a scientist by the name of Crawford Tillinghast, who invented a machine that stimulates the pineal gland, allowing humans to perceive creatures from another dimension. This discovery leads to horrifying consequences as these creatures become aware of our world, resulting in a series of grotesque and terrifying events. I mean, there's no way this could have gone smoothly, right? In this movie, the otherworldly things represent the cosmic horror that Lovecraft is known for, and the idea of tampering with the boundaries of human perception and the resulting chaos is a classic Lovecraftian trope. There's this one scene where Dr. Pretorius and Dr. Tillinghast activate the Reanimator, a machine that stimulates the pineal gland, allowing them to perceive things from another dimension. As they stare in horror, strange, eel-like creatures become visible around them and lead to a scary sequence where Pretorius is transformed into a monstrous, amorphous thing. The Thing, 1982. A group of researchers in Antarctica come across a shape-shifting alien that can imitate any living thing. Paranoia and mistrust are spreading as the team tries to identify who among them is still human, and soon enough, everyone is scared for their survival. And this is exactly why we don't mess around in the South Pole. The isolation and the creeping madness among the characters are key Lovecraftian themes. And when talking about this movie, you can't miss the blood test scene. Paranoia is in the air as the survivors at the Antarctic Research Station test each other's blood to determine who among them is the shape-shifting alien. The tension is so noticeable that it can be cut with a knife, and when Palmer's blood violently reacts, it's chaos all around. The Thing is a masterpiece of practical effects that not only enhances the scary factor, but also adds to the film's enduring legacy. The scene where a character's head detaches and sprouts spider-like legs is particularly memorable because fans still can't get over it. You should check it out. It's gross. And to be fair, it was made in the early 80s when there was hardly any CGI or green screens. Color Out of Space, 2019. A Nicolas Cage movie that fans don't really talk about. Based on Lovecraft's short story Color Out of Space, it's about the Gardner family as they encounter a meteorite that crashes near their farm, bringing with it a strange, otherworldly color that begins to mutate the environment and the family members. Again, what more can be expected from anything that comes from outer space? Since we're talking about Color Out of Space, I can't get over that sequence where after the meteorite crash lands on their farm, the Gardner family's livestock begins to mutate. Nathan Gardner sees that his alpacas have disgustingly fused together into a hideous abomination, and he freaks out. Nobody likes to see their pets turn into something ugly and vomit-inducing. Thanks to more practical effects and less CGI, we have a movie that stands out in the alien genre. In the Mouth of Madness, 1994. Insurance investigator John Trent is tasked with finding missing horror author Sutter Kane. He takes an interest in Kane's work and realizes that the author's writings are coming to life. For those who don't know, the idea of a fictional world bleeding into reality is a classic Lovecraftian concept. Thanks to animatronics and a few clever camera tricks, we got to see creatures that appeared throughout the movie. I can't help but think about when the mob of crazed townspeople chased John Trent out of Hobbs End. As Trent tries to escape, the surreal visuals make this scene a powerful depiction of the boundary between fiction and reality dissolving. And since this film is from the 90s, we get to see some good real-life effects, like the monsters. Reanimator, 1985. This one is an all-time classic. Herbert West, a brilliant but twisted medical student, arrives at Miskatonic University in Arkham, Massachusetts, convinced that he has created a serum capable of bringing dead tissue back to life. He rents a room from fellow student Dan Kane and transforms the basement into his laboratory. To prove his claim, West uses his serum on Dan's deceased cat, Rufus, shockingly bringing it back to life. West and Dan start experimenting on human cadavers, but their activities don't go unnoticed. Dr. Carl Hill, a professor at the university, becomes obsessed with Herbert's innovation and plans to steal it for himself. Come on, people. What good has ever come from trying to bring the dead back to life? Pet Sematary is a great example of this. And don't get me started on the practical effects in Reanimator. They're almost perfect in my opinion, especially considering that this film is nearly 4 decades old. My favorite scene is the one with the headless Dr. Hill. After being decapitated by Herbert West, Dr. Hill's severed head is reanimated and continues to function independently. In a darkly comedic scene, the reanimated head attempts to control its headless body. It was as scary as it was funny. All in all, Reanimator is a decent take on Lovecraftian horror, with special effects that remain impressive to this day, and it should be on your watch list for tonight. Take a look at the next one. Annihilation, 2018. A group of scientists enter the Shimmer, a quarantined zone where the laws of nature are distorted. Upon venturing deeper, they face mutated plants and animals, including an albino alligator with multiple rows of teeth and a bear that mimics human screams. This is not the kind of zoo I like to visit. An alien force that defies human understanding? Classic Lovecraftian trope. Even though the movie isn't very old, the producers decided to stick with real effects instead of a green screen. And who can forget the bear attack? In the heart of the Shimmer, the group comes across a bear-like thing that has absorbed the scream of one of its previous victims. The scene where the mutated bear attacks is straight up terrifying and tells us all we need to know about the unsettling nature of the Shimmer's effects on living beings. This kind of reminds me of Cocaine Bear, which was released last year. How about you check out both Annihilation and Cocaine Bear and compare the bear attack scenes? Castle Freak, 1995. John and his wife Susan are driving through Europe when they meet a mysterious man who offers them a castle to stay in. The castle is actually a manor owned by the man's insane brother, who is hiding a horrifying secret. The couple soon learns that the castle is haunted by a monster and their lives are in danger. Guys, this is why we don't accept chocolate from strangers, let alone castles. Speaking of this danger, I can't stop visualizing the revelation of Giorgio's existence. When the Riley family sees that the deformed and brutalized Giorgio has been living in the castle's dungeon, the realization that they have been unknowingly sharing the castle with this monstrous figure is horrifying. The scene where Giorgio is revealed, chained, and mistreated evokes both horror and sympathy, and so I think Castle Freak deserves your attention. The Call of Cthulhu, 2005. This silent film adaptation of Lovecraft's famous story is about an investigator who uncovers the existence of the ancient god Cthulhu and the cult that worships it. A series of flashbacks and journal entries later, the truth about Cthulhu's impending awakening is presented upon the audience. I'm not gonna lie, I'm scared of Cthulhu being real. The ocean is vast and deep, and you can never guess what is actually lurking at the bottom. If you could pin down the one thing that is directly associated with H.P. Lovecraft, then it's going to be Cthulhu. The use of stop-motion animation makes the ancient god Cthulhu feel as real as you last saw him in the 2020 movie Underwater. What really fascinated me about the Call of Cthulhu was the discovery of Urlie. The sailors stumble upon the sunken city of Urlie, with its non-Euclidean architecture and ancient alien design. Cthulhu rises from his slumber, a towering, incomprehensible force of nature, and that is pure Lovecraftian horror, where humans feel like they are nothing. House, 1977. A group of schoolgirls travel to a remote house, only to suffer bizarre and supernatural occurrences. The house is alive and possesses a malevolent spirit that terrorizes Jessica and her friends. They face questionable moments with furniture, walls, and even the house itself. Kudos to the realtor who sold this house. If I had to talk about one particular scene that caught my attention, It has to be the one where one of the girls, Melody, is eaten by a possessed piano. As the piano keys play on their own, the scene transitions into a kaleidoscope of vibrant, disjointed imagery, and it's part scary and part beautiful. Overall, House is a visually unique and imaginative film that effectively uses special effects to create a Lovecraftian nightmare. It's pretty great, and I have to say, they don't make movies like these anymore. Dagon, 2001. Paul, a young man struggling with the death of his mother, is shipwrecked on a remote island with his girlfriend. They find a mysterious village inhabited by creatures that worship a deity called Dagon. Paul soon realizes that he and his girlfriend are in danger from them and must find a way to escape the island. Imagine trying to fix your mental health and you somehow land in the middle of monsters. You want to know what fear looks like? For me, it was the unveiling of the Dagon cult. Paul finds himself in the seaside town of Imboka, where the townspeople worship the ancient sea deity Dagon. And the moment when Paul is confronted by the townspeople, revealing their ugly, fish-like mutations, gives me the chills. Put Dagon on your weekend watch list. It's worth it. The Void, 2016. A police officer, Daniel Carter, is called to investigate a strange incident at a hospital. The hospital is full of injured people, but something sinister is happening in the shadows. The hospital descends into chaos as supernatural forces begin to claim the lives of the patients and staff, trapping Daniel and others inside. What gives me the chills was the part where the people slowly descended into the basement. As the survivors venture deeper into the hospital, they find a hidden basement where a cult is attempting to open a portal to another dimension. Man, what is it with cults trying to open other dimensions? Fun fact, the effects in this movie were managed through crowdfunding, and let me tell you, they're as good as it gets. Check it out, and you won't regret it. The Dunwich Horror, 1970. In a small town called Dunwich, something strange happens when a young woman gives birth to a devilish child. This town is terrorized by a series of mysterious deaths and the discovery of an ancient forbidden cult that worships an entity. A professor investigates the happenings and finds out certain things that are about to destroy our beloved Earth. For the climax of the film, we have Wilbur Wheatley attempting to summon the ancient gods at the stone altar in Dunwich. Totally normal thing to do. The scene is scary because we get swirling winds and mystical lights and a sense of impending doom as the forces of the old gods begin to awaken. Lovecraftian ritualistic horror will be the end of me someday. Marvelous verdict. There's something undeniably chilling about seeing Lovecraft's imagination brought to life with real, tangible effects. These movies prove that you don't need $1 million CGI budget to scare the crap out of people. By using practical effects, many filmmakers have created a sense of raw terror that sticks with you and makes you lose sleep. So next time you're looking for a movie that will make you question your sanity, give one of these a shot. Just remember, we warned you. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks, everyone.